everybody, this is Peggy for CropStop.com, and today I want to show you about the Genius Ultimate Platform System. It's new plates that you can use when you are using your Vagabond, your Cuttlebug, or your Big Shot. They are the awesome set. You are not going to have to worry about which ones to do with each different machine and all the different sandwiches. It's always going to be the same, and these are interchangeable. They're really nice because these mats that you're going to be cutting into are self-healing mats, and they're 13 inches, so I can cut several dies at a time, which is awesome. So what I'd like to do is to first show you using my Vagabond. Now, what's really neat about this is the platform, and I'm bring this in so you can see, maybe you can see the little silver things in here. This is magnetized, which is awesome for when you're using those little dies. Let me show you. Now, this is a Spellbinders, and this is one of the LifeStyles. And look, nothing comes off. Shaking, holding upside down. So now, there won't be any more of those, when you're making a card and cutting something and you use that tape and you tear it off, or take it off there, it tears your paper. Oh, that makes me so flustered when that happens. That won't happen anymore. Now, let me tell you, I did it wrong the first time, and I cut into my blue plate. Don't do that. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is to cut using the die cuts, and I'm actually going to see if I got a hunk of paper here. Here we go. And I'm going to put it with the edges up, so it's cutting up, and I'm going to lay my paper on there, like so. And I'm going to use the A plate, which is your cutting plate. And we'll stick her in there, and we'll run her through. A little crowded here for space. Alright, so there we are. And there is my die. Oops. Isn't that cool? That's going to be cute on a scrapbook page. So it cuts those. Now I can also obviously do the same with these little dies here. Let's see, I think this one will fit. So we're going to stick this face up. Turn it this way. I'm going to put my paper there. A plate on top. And again, we'll run her through. And there's no guessing. I will always know that when I cut, I use my A plate. No matter if I use Vagabond, my Big Shot, or the Cuttlebug. And there we go. Perfect. And there is my other tag. Pretty cool, huh? Now the exclusive thing, or what I say, they're saying, what's exclusive about buying this set, when you buy this set, you are going to get a set of 10 different LifeStyle dies. These are exclusive to this when you buy these platforms, the system. You can't buy these separately, in other words. And these are valued at like 25 bucks just for the dies, and you get 10. And so that's a pretty good bargain compared to what some of the other companies give you. You know, I don't even know how many they give you, but I think that's a pretty good deal. 25 bucks for 10. $2 and something a piece. So now let me show you how you emboss. So we're going to keep our A plate there. We're going to switch now to our B plate. And let me grab a hunk of paper here. I'm going to be using the new Sizzix folder. This one was called, let me see. It is called the Classical Beauty and Baroque Wallpaper Set. And they've got really awesome little sizzlets to match this. So I'm pretty anxious to pull this together as a card. So I'm going to put my tag that I cut before in here. Now when I do my embossing, I put the open end first, just like so. And again, my B plate, if you remember, B has embossing with a B, so there you go. Here we go. Now check out that wonderful embossing. Isn't that great? Yeah, I'm liking that. Okay, so that's your die cutting. Now the other thing you can do, which is pretty awesome, let me see if I can find it. You can also cut these, the sizzlets, or the Cuttlebugs. You can use those. And you want to do it the same way. Remember that the gray side is up. Now these are not going to be magnetized in there because these are not metal, obviously. I'm going to just use this again and see what happens. I know it'll flatten out the embossing, but, you know, there you are. So let's see how this works. Oh, I didn't have my paper exactly on there, but that's all right. Let's get her untangled. And there is my little vine. Well, if I can get it untangled, my little vine. There you go. How about that? You see that? cuts perfect. And I don't have any of those little hairy things. Sometimes, you know, I cut and I get like little hairs on there. So it's cutting beautifully. Alright, so that's all the things that you can do with that. Now, here's the one thing. I've talked with LifeStyles through CropStop, and we have found out that they are going to make separate B plates because I can't run my Big Shot, or I'm sorry, my Biggs Sizzix dies through there, you know, all my Tim Holtz. I can't run those through there because I need 2 B mats and it only comes with 1. So they are going to make available in the near future another B plate that will be able to do that. And as soon as that becomes available, you'll see it on the CropStop on our website. So make sure to check that. Let me change some things around here so I can bring in the Big Shot. Alright, since I already have this set up with a B plate, let's emboss using our Big Shot. I'm just going to use my folder. And remember, you got to check for innies and outies when you're doing this. I'm going to place it this way because I want it to push up through there. Yep. Alright, so then I'm going to do open end, going first. Well, Peggy, you got to take that other stuff off of there for criminy sakes. Forgot what I was doing, I guess. Alright, there you go. Alright. And there you have an embossed tag. You see that embossing on there? I hope. There you go. Isn't that nice? I'm going to be having a lot of little tags for my scrapbooking. That's going to be pretty cool. Alright, so we've embossed with it. So we'll set that aside. Now, let's see. Well, actually, you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and just do this again. Now we're going to cut. So we're going to use our little Sizzlets. I'm going to put my tag on there just because I have that readily available. And again, I'm going to use my B plate because that die is going to take up room. And here we go through. And voila. And there is my little vine. How about that? I tore that pulling it out. That's okay. I don't know, you probably have all done that a time or two. So you can use your Sizzlets in there. So we can use, now we got to go to show you that we can cut our little dies. So let's find our C plate and let's pull out one of these. And again, I'm going to put the cutting side up, my paper down, and now I'm going to be using the A plate. And we're going to run her through there. So I've only had to memorize, you know, the sandwich for one sandwich for everybody, which I absolutely love. Oh, left it on there. There we go. And there is my little tag, perfectly cut. So is this like too awesome that you can cut with all of your machines depending on what you have? I don't know about you, I have stations where obviously the Vagabond has to be close to the electrical plug, which obviously. My other 2 machines can be wherever. So where all of my big dies are, I usually have my Big Shot. I keep my Cuttlebug right next to me where I work because that's where all my embossing folders are. And probably 80% of my cards get embossed. So I love to have my Cuttlebug right there so I can do that. So speaking of her, let me bring her in and we'll show you how that one works. Okay, this is going to work exactly the same. I'm going to put my die down, cutting part up, my paper on top. And then I'm going to use my A plate for cutting. Now, the one thing I can tell you is that with my Cuttlebug, and I don't know if it's because mine's an older one or what, it is a little bit tighter to get started, so I usually kind of push until I get her going. And then I have to hold her because I've got a craft mat on my desktop here. And then we've got to push her all the way out. Oh my goodness. I told you it was tight. Oh, there we go. Oh my word. I must need to eat my Wheaties. My goodness. It wasn't that tight the first time. I might have had it crooked. Well, we'll see if it cut. Well, it did cut, so I guess we're doing all right. So there we are. Well, you know what? It did cut on that one corner because I didn't have it in there right. Well, that'll teach us all a lesson. Make sure you have it right. But there's my die. Cut perfectly. It does have a little rough spot where I had to pull it. Darn. Well, I'll have to work on that. So, that's cutting with your dies. Then, if I'm going to use my little Sizzlets, let me find a hunk of paper. That'll fit. I don't want to cut that by itself. Let me stick this on here. And then we're going to go back to our B plate because that is bigger. And again, I'm going to start mine by pushing her through there. There we go. That one's a little tighter. I'm not so sure why it's so tight to pull out. It shouldn't be. And again, this may not be my choice of machines, but you know why? I do my videos, so we know that. Because we'll know which one we like the best. And honestly, I'm liking the Big Shot the best. And I guess I'm allowed to say that because I'm always honest with y'all. So there you are. There's my little, oh, darn, I tore that again. Oh, piddle. Well, anyway, you get the gist, right? Okay, there it is. Cut. So we can cut with it. What else do I need to do? Oh, yeah, emboss. So let me get my embossing plate and my little die. Gotta make sure I got it going the right way. I'm going to push up through there. And we'll try her one more time. Kind of push her to get her started. Yeah, it's really tight on the back end here, and I'm not sure why. I may have to just call LifeStyles and ask them why it's so tight. And there is embossing, just like the other two machines. So, the thing that I'm loving about this system, let me pull this out of here because that'll bug me that it's hanging there, is that these are self-healing mats. So, I don't know if you can kind of see, you know, like there used to be those Olfa cutting mats. I don't know if any of you used to do quilting. You could use the rotor cuttery thing on that, and it would make a cut, but then it like, this is going to last forever. I'm really excited about that. It'll last a lot longer than my B-plates, I'm sure. So that's what's really neat. Again, the system will work in all three machines. A little bit tighter in the Cuttlebug, but it does work. So, you know, check that out. And I'm going to check and see if, no, it hasn't made any marks in there, so it's just a tight fit. So it works in the Cuttlebug, the Big Shot, and the Vagabond. Now, it'll probably work in some of the other machines that I'm not familiar with, so I can't speak for those. I can only tell you what I've got. So stop over to CropStop, check it out. Remember, you get $25 worth of dies with it, so it's a great deal. And make sure to tell them Peggy sent you. Have a good one. Bye.